get right into it. You know, coronavirus, it kind of ruined everything in our lives, including voting. But we want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to make your vote count. So I'm here with Arnee Odoms. She is the Alabama State Coordinator with Black Voters Matter. And she's going to give us a little bit of a lowdown here. So Arnee, welcome. So I know there are a lot of boots on the ground when it comes down to voter suppression and stuff like that. Can you tell us a little bit about Black Voters Matter and their mission?
So Black Voters Matter started in 2016 in Selma, Alabama.
All right, Selma.
Right. Selma, Lord Selma. With our co-founders, LaTasha Brown and Cliff Albright. Basically, it's a continuation of the work that John Lewis, Reverend C.T. Vivian, all participated in Selma and just basically saving ourselves.
So basically funding that good trouble that John Lewis was talking about.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So continue that legacy.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear a little bit about voter suppression and what it looks like today, because when I read it in history books, I know about the literacy tests and the poll tax, but let's fast forward to today in 2020. What does that voter suppression look like now, and how can people be like on the lookout for it?
I know I like to say this a lot, but I'm gonna say it again. The devil is in the details of absentee voting and voting in general, especially with COVID-19. A lot of people don't know how to apply for absentee ballots. They also don't know the components that you have to put into the packet as far as identification and the 2 witness and a notary requirement, which we last week kind of won a case against the state of Alabama where we were asking for some relief on the older community and the more at-risk community. So right now, across the state, we are able to vote on Saturdays in some locations right now. This might be appealed, and the Secretary of State has already said that he was going to appeal it.
Oh, okay. Is that what you meant by one?
Right, right.
It's like, well, the finish line is right there, but...
Yes. So if you're 65 and over and your exposure to COVID-19 makes you at risk of like a fatal outcome, you can vote without including your copy of your identification in your absentee ballot. And you can also vote vote absentee without the 2 witness or notary requirement. And that's accurate law and that's current, but you know, as I said, it will be appealed. They have already said it.
Okay.
Right. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And what suppression looks like is having to go to court for things like that, and needing to print your identification, and also having to have a notary or a witness to tell someone that you voted or to validate your vote.
Right.
Like, who is out here saying,
valid.
You know what? I need you to validate my vote. Like, come over to my house at 12 noon. You know, and it's COVID-19. We're social distancing.
Right.
And if you're in the rural areas, the post office might be miles and miles away from your home, or either you might not have a car to get to where you need to go to buy stamps, an envelope, or print your ID, or print the absentee ballot at that. I mean,
or the internet.
Right.
A lot of folks don't have internet.
Listen, broadband is an issue in the Black Belt.
Right.
And so if you're asking someone to www. anything, you know, just think of their circumstances and the barriers that they have to cross to vote, you know?
Right.
And
yeah, so there's still a lot of red tape I see. And one of the red tapes I've heard you say is miseducation.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where that miseducation's coming from. I know that there's absentee information on the Secretary of State's website. So it's that.
If you can find it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So is that part of the miseducation? Or?
No, it's more so about the website being convoluted. It's so much information that it's almost like information overload. And when you go on there, you literally have to be very specific in your ask. Like, and some things are weirdly worded, and it's just like, okay, can you just tell me how to request? What are the deadlines? You know, where is my polling location? Simple things like that we overlook because we're in the know. And you know, civic engagement is the thing that we do as work. And a lot of people expect everyone to know these things just willy-nilly, like, oh, I know the deadline to absentee vote is October 29th. No, Nobody, I mean, you know.
Right.
It's not like general conversation.
Right. It's not general knowledge. It's not everyday knowledge.
Right. But we're working to change that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you mentioned the deadlines. Like, what are some of the deadlines that we need to be aware of? Election is right around the corner. So how can we as citizens protect our vote at this point in time?
As far as the deadlines go, the deadline to register to vote for the November 3rd general election is October 19th. The deadline to request an absentee ballot is October 29th. And for any other information, you know, because there's a lot of dates out there, just head to our website.
Right.
www.blackvotersmatterfund.org.
Okay. So that's for a simple site, simple eyes. So Arnee, should someone wait until October 29th to apply for the absentee ballot, in your opinion?
No, I wouldn't recommend it. I was actually on the ground this weekend in Montgomery doing voter registration at a few businesses, and within an hour, 2 people came up to us and was just like, I applied for my absentee ballot. I have not received it. And one lady applied for an absentee ballot around the time where they became available, September 9th. And she's just like, I haven't heard anything. I do want to make sure that if you're gonna vote absentee, that I say, we would recommend you voting in person. By mail, it's an option, but in person, at least you know it's a one-stop shop. You get your absentee ballot immediately, you're able to vote, and the nuance to that is bring your ID. You know, you don't have to worry about the 2 witnesses or a notary requirement in that way.
Okay. So based on what you're seeing on the ground, what prevents people or stops people from registering to vote? Or even if they do register to vote, not voting at all?
As far as stopping people, what I've seen is with the voter restoration about felonies, which ones can be forgiven. As far as if you committed this felony or that felony, a lot of confusion around that and getting your rights restored. It's normally around a 44 to 46 day process. And what a lot of felons or people who have committed felonies, as I like to say, what they don't know is that they can register to vote and continue to be engaged civically. What I think stops people from voting is the fact that they don't see a change in their everyday life when they do. And so you put a president in office, and if that's your only time voting, and you're like, well, that didn't affect my life, nothing changed. And so that's where I can see people getting a little apathetic in the process. And one of the main goals in Black Voters Matter's mission is to make all voting local. So not just voting in those on years with presidents on the ballot, but when your mayor, your sheriff, your DA, because I can guarantee you that when you walk into a courtroom, you can tell the difference between a DA that was elected by the people and a DA, well, I mean, Black people.
Yes.
Or, and a DA that wasn't.
Right.
You know, sentencing, they have their prosecutorial discretion.
Yes.
And so you really want to get involved locally. And that's what we're encouraging people to do. So I don't say, you know, if they say, I don't believe in the system, I don't believe in this, it don't change my life. I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel that, I can. But, you know, you got to talk to them in a way that makes them feel empowered. Like, if you don't vote, you're giving someone power or agency over your life without your opinion. And that kind of changes the way they think, you know, because it's just like, wow, I didn't realize that.
So it's like, who do you want to stand for you and represent you?
Right.
And if you don't vote, you don't have a say.
Come again. Come again.
If you don't vote, you don't have anything to say, sadly. So thank you so much, Arnee. I appreciate you being with us. Anything you want to add or tell the audience today before we close out?
I think I've said it all. I don't want to be one of those people that gives so much information that it gets lost in the process. So, no, just vote.
Yes, vote. Go out and vote.
Vote early and in person.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to end it there, y'all. You keep spreading your black magic, and we will see you again soon. Bye.